Hello, my name is Joshua and welcome to another video on this deep, rich channel. I apologise for putting you through this pain. Anyway, in today's video, I thought I'd try something a little bit different. I try something a little bit different in every single video, but today we are doing just that again. So I've got a big list here of every single film and TV show that I've watched this year. I think, because I just wrote this down from memory yesterday and I didn't think of actually writing down what I've watched after I've watched it. So I might have missed out one or two things, but I'm pretty sure I've got most of it. So I thought I'd review it, give it a score, and yeah, let's get started. So first one is a kind of a cheat because I watched most of it at the end of 2020 and I just had a few more episodes left at the beginning of 2021. It's The Boys. I watched season 1 and 2. Obviously I watched this show like over 6 months ago now, but from what I can remember from it, it was an amazing show. It had a fresh new storyline to me. I don't know if it's been done before, but superheroes presented in like a realistic and different way to like Marvel or DC, and that would present their superheroes, and that if you do actually call them superheroes in the show. The main focus of this TV show is on the human characters and how they try to kill these superheroes. I think I like season 1 a bit more. I don't know, because it focuses more on the superheroes' backstories. Yeah, I would give The Boys season 1 a 9 out of 10, and I'll give season 2. I'll give it an 8.5. Next, I watched the whole 7 seasons of The Office. Obviously, everyone knows that The Office is one of the best sitcoms of all time. I'll say season 2 to 4 is some of the best comedy I have watched. Season 1 was just them finding their footing, so that's why it was mostly based off the UK version. I watched the first episode of the UK version and I saw a lot of similarities in the pilot for The Office and the pilot for the UK version. And then in season 2 we have a big character change for most of the characters, most notably Michael Scott. Michael Scott is obviously one of the best characters in the show in my opinion, and then when he left it felt really weird because he was basically the main character of the show, and when you take the main character away from the story, I think it lacks a lot. I did feel like it did dip a lot in quality after season 7. The series finale brought it back up to the quality of the season before and really ended the show in the best way it could, in my opinion. So I would give The Office an 8.5 out of 10, I think. The film I watched immediately after I finished The Office was Terminator, because I got it on Blu-ray and I was eagerly wanting to watch this, and it was a really enjoyable 80s action movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a Terminator from the future. As it's such an iconic film, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I'm just taking off those 2 marks because I know what is to come. On to Terminator 2. As soon as I watched this film, I concluded that it was one of my favourite films of all time. So well written, everything from the CGI from 1991 was just so good. The character development of Sarah's son and Sarah herself dealing with the return of her worst enemy. Terminator himself comes back as a nice guy. That's what makes this sequel so good, is that it changes from the first film so much. I think I would give this a 10 out of 10. It's just so good. It's just so good. And then Star came to Disney Plus, and one of the films that I wanted to watch, what was on there, was Independence Day. It seemed like a fun movie and it starred Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. I thought it was a fun enough action film which was extremely patriotic. I enjoyed the characters of Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith. I kind of liked it. I thought it was okay. So with that, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Then on Amazon Prime Video, I watched Tropic Thunder, another film that I was really interested to watch, and as it was on Amazon Prime Video, I thought might as well watch it. It stars Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black and Ben Stiller. They're like 3 of my favourite comedians. Well, Robert Downey Jr. is not really a comedian, but all these 3 people coming together, in my head, I thought it'd be a really fun, funny film. and it was. Just a really over-the-top and fun concept for a film. I just found it funny that Robert Downey Jr. is playing a black character who turns out to be an Australian at the end. It's just the most over-the-top, out-of-nowhere movie. Yeah, 8 out of 10. Really fun film, and also Robert Downey Jr. just blackface. Next, on Amazon Prime Video, I watched Palm Springs from 2020, I think. I heard good things from this. This was a really fun film. I haven't watched any like time loop films before, but it's about this guy who is stuck in a time loop, who accidentally gets this girl into a time loop with her. I'm gonna throw another 8 out of 10 out there. Next, I watched and it's literally one of my favourite TV shows of all time now, basically. The story was amazing. I find the show has similarities to the first Spider-Man film in like responsibility and how to live up to that responsibility, and I think Invincible did that really well. When I first clicked play on episode 1 of the show, I was not expecting that ending. I think it's one of the most surprising twists in all of the TV shows that I've watched. And just how brutal Omni-Man kills off the Seven was just so out of nowhere. The finale is just so good. Just so good. Please watch this show. It is so good. The only thing about this show, which I didn't really notice on my first viewing, but when I look at clips from it now, I'm like, oh yeah, the animation is not the best, but the story and the characters and everything else makes up for it. So with that, I'm giving Invincible a 9 out of 10. And because I'm a huge MCU fan, I watched WandaVision next on Disney Plus. I have it right behind me right there. This show revolves around Wanda creating this whole world around her and a fake version of Vision. I find it interesting how it goes through the different decades of sitcoms and that. And then obviously episode 7 or 8, I'm pretty sure, we had the reveal that it was Agatha all along. The season finale happened, and obviously I've been watching speculation videos and that online, and everyone was like saying Mephisto is going to be in the final episode. There's a surprise cameo in the final episode. What could it be? Different dimensions, different multiverses. None of that happened. Apparently the surprise cameo was a joke from Paul Bettany. Thanks a lot, mate. The surprise cameo was actually himself. Season finale was really disappointing. So for that, I'm just gonna have to knock it down 2 points, because I really think the season finale impacts the show as a whole. So with that, I'm gonna give WandaVision 8 out of 10. Then another Marvel show that I watched was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was a completely different show to WandaVision, dealing with Bucky and Sam after the events of Endgame. Captain America giving the shield to Sam, and the government give it to this military person who turns out to be not the best of people. This show goes over like many political issues, government corruption, racism, police brutality. I feel like this show gets a while to get going. I think at the end of episode 4 is where it starts to pick up, and then the season finale was pretty strong as well. Yeah, I thought it was pretty strong. So with that, I will give Falcon and Winter Soldier a... I'll tie it with WandaVision, because WandaVision had a really strong start and really disappointing ending. Falcon and Winter Soldier had a really slow start and a pretty solid ending, so I'll give it an 8 with WandaVision. Then I watched Highlander for the first time, which is a bit shocking considering I'm obviously a big Queen fan. This film was, again, a fun 80s film, a really unusual concept about an immortal Scottish guy in the 80s. Obviously, amazing soundtrack by Queen. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. And then I watched Avatar. I did a review on this a few months back. After watching films like Terminator, way better films like that, I'm gonna bring my score for Avatar down a bit, I think. Because like I said in the review, the visuals were amazing. The score was great. I did think the concept was interesting, but it wasn't executed as good as I was expecting it to be executed. I'll give it a 5.5. I'm sorry. It's not one of James Cameron's best movies. And then, well, this is way back now. This is probably before I started The Office. I watched Gremlins. I didn't expect it to be a Christmas movie, so that's why I was watching it in January. Yeah, this is a really cute film. Obviously Gizmo. You can't not love Gizmo, okay? The concept of these alien beings, I don't know, that like give birth when you put water on them, and then if they eat after midnight, they will turn into these disgusting creatures who wreak havoc on the city. It's a really fun concept for a film. It's just a really fun 80s film, which I've said a lot of times in this video. Pause it. Shoot. And then I watched Superman. This is supposed to be a really influential film on the superhero films to come after this. And I can see why this is really well made. It's just a really big epic on Superman's backstory and what leads up to him being in New York City. And when it does come to that, it gets really good, in my opinion. We also have Lex Luthor, who's one of my favourite superhero movie villains. Yeah, so because of how influential this film is, 8.5, 8.5. Really solid film. Then I watched Superman 2, which was like the follow-up to the first Superman. The two films were like shot back to back, I'm pretty sure. I watched the Richard Donner cut because like Richard Lester took over in like the middle of directing Superman 2, I'm pretty sure. And the Donner cut was like Richard Donner's true vision of what Superman 2 was going to be like, or as close as his vision could be. Yeah, pretty good follow-up, 8 out of 10. And then I watched Watchmen to get a taste of Zack Snyder's work before I watched the DCU. And boy, was it a great film. Apparently it's supposed to be really graphic novel accurate. I watched a 3-hour director's cut, which expands on the characters, I guess. And from there, backstory is really interesting. And Dr. Manhattan being naked for most of the film. 8.5. And then I got into the DCU, so we have Man of Steel. Let's just do a quick fire. Pretty good opening to the DCU. Really different Superman to the one I saw in the original film from 1978. New and interesting take on it, I guess. Obviously Zack Snyder again, so you know it's going to be shot really well. I'll give this film 7 out of 10. Next we have Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition. This is when they introduced Batman. I really enjoyed Batman as a character. This is actually the first Batman film I've actually seen. I have not watched the Dark Knight trilogy. This was a really interesting film, seeing more of Clark's human side and investigating more into Batman. I'm not really a big fan of Lex Luthor. I thought he kind of got a bit annoying, being this really crazy character, and compared to the original Superman film, he's a much different character. Obviously it's well shot, again it's a Zack Snyder film. The middle where Batman and Superman have the fight, I thought that was really solidly done and really entertaining. And then the Martha thing happens. I'll give Batman v Superman a 6.5. Yeah. Then I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. Boy, what a long movie this was. I didn't watch the theatrical cut, obviously, because I've heard what an awful pile of feces that was. But this was a really good film, even though it's so long, and I think some scenes could have been cut out of it. So with that, I'll give it an 8.5. Then I watched Wonder Woman, fun action movie set in World War II times. I thought it was going to be like a woman power film, like Captain Marvel. I felt like Captain Marvel was like a proper women empowerment film, especially near the end. But this really wasn't a female empowerment film, in my opinion. I'll give this, I don't know, an 8 out of 10. Okay. Then we have Aquaman. I'm really tied between this film because some of the acting in this film is not the best, especially from the child actors. And some of it's just so like campy, if you want to call it that. It felt like I shouldn't like it, but it's just sort of such an enjoyable film that I can't not like it. I'll give it a 6.5. I'm tying it with Batman v Superman. Then we have another TV show. We have Solar Opposites. This is created by the same guys who did Rick and Morty. I haven't actually watched Rick and Morty, but this was on Disney Plus, so I thought I might as well watch it because I've heard good things about Rick and Morty. And this was really a really enjoyable show about these aliens who crash landed on Earth because their planet was destroyed, and it's basically about them living on Earth and all of these crazy inventions that they have. I like how some of the episodes are dedicated to just the aliens, and that some of the episodes are dedicated to like half the stuff about the wall and half the stuff about the aliens, and then there's just some episodes which are dedicated just solely to the wall. Some of the wall episodes feel like a completely different show. It's not nearly as comedic as the alien stuff. It's just a really great show. I'm really waiting for season 3, and they did say that they're going to do a holiday special at the end of season 2. So I'm going to give Solar Opposites a solid 8.5 out of 10. And then most recently I watched Luca, the new Pixar film. The last Pixar film I watched was Toy Story 4. I watched that in cinemas with my family. I feel like it's kind of depressing when you're just watching a Disney movie on your own, but I decided to watch this film on my own. I did not feel depressed, so that's a good sign. This was a really fun animated film. The animation is amazing. Obviously, what else are you expecting from a Pixar film? And a really fun concept of like sea monsters that disguise themselves as humans when they're on land, and when they're touched by water they just turn back to their sea monster forms, and it's executed really good, really good. So I'm gonna give Pixar's Luca, I'll give it an 8.5. Obviously not as good as Toy Story or Up, but yeah, that's really all of the shows and films I've watched this year so far. I am currently watching a few TV shows. They're actually 2 on Disney Plus and 1 on Prime Video. I'm currently watching Loki, obviously, because I'm an MCU fan. Really good show so far, really solid. I'm also watching Marvel's MODOK as well. I really didn't enjoy the first episode. I didn't like the sense of humour that the show was trying to get across, really. Once you get used to like the humour, then it starts picking up and it starts getting really good. The stop motion animation for the show is amazing, and you should just watch the show for that alone, really. And then finally, I'm currently on season 4 of Parks and Recreation, which is like the sister show to The Office, really. A really fun show so far, and I think it's right on par with The Office, in my opinion. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, goodbye.